All right, I'd like to call over the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority on November 21st, 2022 at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Wines. Marshall. Here. White.
Here.
Coffee.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Vaughn.
Here.
Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here. I do declare a quorum. The invocation by Gloria tonight.
Father, we just come before you tonight with a heart of thanksgiving. Thanking you, Lord, for Perry, and thanking you for all the blessings that we see that has been bestowed upon us. And so thankful that we can live in a town that's active and growing, and thankful for each council person that gives their time to serve on this board. And we just ask, Lord, tonight that you give us wisdom, and Father, that you will just guide and direct every decision that we make, that it will glorify you. And we just ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gloria. Item 1 is the consent agenda. There's one item, the minutes from the last meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call, please.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. Comments from those assembled pertaining to items on the PMA? Hearing none. Item 5, proclamation accommodation reports inquired by the governing body. Hearing none. Item 6, receive the second presentation from the Oklahoma Municipal Power Authority regarding OMP's Northfield services.
Good
Jennifer?
evening.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Good, thank you for coming.
Good. Jim and I were here a while back to discuss this and go through the PowerPoint with you. I'm not going to go through the entire PowerPoint over again, but now is where we come time for the execution of the actual contract. Bryce has typed up in there, but there's also a clause in there that makes it null and void should these other cities not join, so that way one city is not on the hook for the entire program. So basically, it's the North Line crew we discussed that would be based out of the Ponca City area. We'll be serving these cities in the north central area. We already have, you've ordered trucks.
We have trucks on the way.
Because of the supply chain issues, if everybody signed the contract, we didn't want to, be out and not have any equipment to get this done. So basically, this is the next step, is signing the contract. We're going to be going around to all of the cities, working with their councils on getting these contracts signed, and they have to have them signed by the end of January in order for this to take off. So if we don't get the main large 6 cities to sign, the contract will become null and void, and we will go back to the drawing board and see what we can get with the third line crew. So it's basically execution of the contract.
How many cities do you need? Do you have to have all of them? I mean, if
So
4 or 5 signed up?
Currently, we've identified 8 that have an interest in being in the program, but the big 6 out of those 8, which is Perry, Pawhuska, Blackwell, Newkirk, Tonkawa, who am I forgetting? Hominy. And Hominy have to execute this contract in order for it to. We didn't want one city to sign up for it and feel like they were going to be on the hook for the entire bill. It's basically.
I was just wondering, say 5 of them said okay, then the program.
It still would be void on the contract, but we would probably go back to the drawing board with our general counsel and redraft the contract, and then we would come back another time.
Okay.
So, and if those 6 don't execute the contract, it becomes, it's done, and we go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
But regardless of if, it gets off the ground, I think you guys can use the trucks, Everybody can't get trucks right now, so, anything you want to add?
No, we're ready to go. So we're just looking forward to everybody approving the contract and getting things started.
How big a crew is this going to be? What's your?
This will be a 4-man crew.
Okay. Are they going to be stationed out of your facility on Highway 11 or what? Is it Highway 11? Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what we're looking at, our Charles D. Lamb Energy Center, to carve out a space there for a crew building.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to lease something, at least initially, to get them up and running, but
Yeah.
that's ultimately where we want them to be.
Any questions, council? Authority members, I'm sorry.
This has been really successful. It started with Fairview and Winoka, who I represented, and I came to OMPA and asked for, if they could have some assistance, and it's grown. All the communities that are in it really, really like it. Brian is in favor of this, correct? Larry? Brian
Yes.
Wheatley, yeah, and he's
Yes.
very much in favor of it. I would say that we would take the money from, at least the first year, from the electric capital fund. That's the very purpose of it, just to remind everybody, the electric capital fund was funded with dollars from a deal that we did with OMPA back in the late 90s, where OG&E was selling us wholesale power at one price, and OMPA was willing to cut that wholesale price in half for the first year, and then 60%, 70%, 80%, and we didn't raise rates. We didn't raise rates, but what we did do is we took that money that we made from the difference between what the wholesale power was and how much money we were making, and we rebuilt the electric distribution system in Perry, and then established this fund for electric capital needs. But like Social Security, we've borrowed from it from time to time, but we've paid it back. And so, in order to do this, even though it's contingent upon the other communities' approval, we do need to designate, a source of funding. It would seem to me that would be the source of funding, and whether we wanted to reimburse that or, take that from the from utility revenues in the future. But since neither Russ nor Meredith are here and they haven't responded to my email or to my text, have you spoken to them, Larry, about source of fund? Well, they've seen the agenda and they didn't say anything, so that's where I think it ought to be from, and then we can shake it out.
And you have time before the budget process, because this won't actually kick off until
Yeah.
July 1 of next year. So we can work with Russ and Meredith to, because they have a lot of the other cities that are supposedly going to pass this contract. So we can work with them on, we're trying to do this well ahead of your budget period, so that way when you guys start working on the budget, you kind of have a number figure in mind and you can designate the appropriate funding for it.
What kind of projects will you be helping with when we do get into this contract?
Well, one of the part of the contract states that we're going to be developing a 5-year sort of multi-project type plan for each of the cities. And we've done this with other cities that are part of the field services. So that's where we have one distribution engineer, going to have another one come on board in January. And they'll come out here and drive out the system, work with Brian, and we'll help identify projects that are needed over a 5-year span of time there that need to be done. Not only the projects, but the material involved, the cost involved, material and labor on that. And that can be used for y'all to budget there down the road for these projects. And that could be multiple things, from changing out poles to reconducting the line, you name it. It just depends on things as we drive things out. And as Brian, I'm sure he's got his own little project list himself that we're gonna pick his brain to get ideas as well.
And other areas we've helped too is where if you get a new neighborhood and your guys are covered up, our line crews come in and done the line work for that. If you get a new gas station in town or ditch which is gonna expand and there's work needed to be done, that's where our guys step in. Also, another area though too is, should a storm hit this area, the line crew cities have first come, first served, to where those guys respond to the cities impacted that are in the program.
I think you hit upon a key detail there. Also, if a storm hits outside of this area of these 8 cities, and we send a crew out, and they do $50,000 worth of work there, that gets credited back pro rata to these cities here. Because that's time that they weren't able to spend doing work for Perry. And
Well, it may put the projects they were doing on hold, right?
so,
The current projects.
yeah, but then you're gonna get the benefit of that.
Refund.
Right.
So,
Well, this helps a lot, Joe, with the fact that we can't find electric crew members, and our guys can barely keep up with what the maintenance they have. And this will help drastically.
That's actually how the crew got started, or how the
Yeah.
program got started, is
Yeah.
because a lot of our cities are having trouble finding and paying journeyman lineman wages and keeping them on staff, because you've got a lot of I mean, we have to up our salaries constantly because we have to stay in competition with OG&E and PSO, because we don't want our guys getting stolen as well. So, I mean, if you look at our job openings page on our website, I bet every single one of our cities has an opening for a lineman. So, and the way we can keep them is because by pooling the money together with multiple cities, we're able to pay them more than what they would get paid in certain municipalities doing this work.
Will we still keep a lineman posting up?
Yes, yes, very definitely.
In the contract, you still have to have one qualified person on staff for, like, say if they're in one of the other cities doing like a job, and say a squirrel runs into the line, you still have to have one qualified person who can actually go back and turn that power back on. So that is in the contract as well.
And we have, I think there's an additional, is that what you were asking though?
There's an additional,
That's what you
that's what I was asking about, the additional one. That one's still gonna be posted?
Yeah, journeyman and apprentice as well. We'd like to get staff up to 5. That's what we have the appropriation for. As far as the personnel authorization for, we have 5, 3 journeymen, 2 apprentices.
You know, we do a good job on, hiring engineers and looking at our water system and looking at our sanitary sewer system. But, the utility that makes all the money, we don't spend a whole lot of time looking at how we can improve that. And, pole counts and what the status of the poles are and how we can deliver electricity, because we have line loss, how we can deliver it cheaper. And are less expensive. We've talked for a long time about a second substation and making our systems redundant in a manner. We have certain redundancies, but we have manufacturing expansion right now that's going on, and we have the new Loves, and we've got the new Seth Wadley 2,000 feet of cars that's coming out there, and we need to be planning for all that. And I can't tell you the last time we had an electrical engineer look at the system. It must have been one of your engineers, because it goes way back to Guernsey at maybe 2000 or something that I remember. So it's not only the crew, but it's taking advantage of your engineers, and like you said, looking at our system, and I'm just really excited. I think this is going to be great for Perry, and I'm hopeful that the other communities agree. Winoka couldn't survive without it. I'm sure there's other cities that can't survive. You lose your journeyman and you got a problem.
Big problem.
You got a big problem immediately, and that can happen with an accident. That can happen with it mostly happens with someone taking another job.
well, I know City of Emmons just upped their journeyman wages to $51 an hour to match OG&E, and now OG&E's bumped it somewhere north of that.
Wow.
So they're
It's
somewhere.
a chasing game with these salaries.
Yeah,
These guys.
the only reason Brian is here is Brian wants to be in Perry. Him and I can't remember the other gentleman's name.
Dale.
Dale. They could go anywhere and make twice the money they make here. But
So will this impact the current bills? Will there be a fee or anything on there?
No,
Okay.
no, absolutely not. And I just got a text back from Russ, and he said, yes, electric capital, but we'll work it into operations next year. That was his answer.
He's stalking us.
But,
He's stalking us.
well, yeah.
All right. Any questions, council? We can move on. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right. Item 7. Consider approval of a distribution service maintenance agreement with OMPA, establishing the Northfield services and appropriate the first year's fees of $137,423.90 from the Capital Electric Fund and other sources as designated by the Chief Financial Officer, and we just heard from him. So this is approving the contract with them.
And the first year starts July 1st, 23,
Is that correct?
correct?
That's correct.
So we won't be spending any money until July 1st.
Till after budget, right?
That's correct.
Two budget.
So
It'll be in next year's budget, yes.
so are we actually, I guess, that's probably where you're at, are we actually appropriating anything? Or
Well, I mean, I think when you enter into a contract, you need to,
just have it
you know,
available?
even if there's a contingency, you need to have that appropriation there.
Okay.
So really, the first year, we could just take it out of the electric fund.
Yes.
and
Yeah, that's-
Budget for it for the following.
Yeah.
Theoretically, and then just take it out of operation,
Right.
once you do your budget, just, where electric capital is never affected.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be doing the budget, by that time, the budget should be in place. So, if not, we got bigger problems.
Or was that your motion?
What do you want to do, council? It's not that big a deal.
$137,000 is a big deal.
Motion to approve and designate the capital electric fund for funding.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall? Yes. White?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Goldar?
Yes.
Stroller?
Yes, thank you. Item 8, consider approval of resolution number 2022-14 of the trustees of the Perry Municipal Authority superseding the previous resolution and authorize the participation in OMVA Energy Service residential hot water tank rebate program. Bryce?
They've had this program for a while. I don't think we haven't done this up till now, but they have a series of these WISE programs. We have done energy audits.
We have the heat pump and also the ceiling.
Okay, right. I knew that we had two of them, but this one is encouraging residents when they build homes or replace their hot water tank to go electric. And if they do go electric, we're going to pay half the cost for whatever that system is to put it in. Of that, 50% that's paid for by the public, 25% we've paid for by the city, and 25% will be paid for by OMPA, and we would do it on the basis of a rebate check. Now, how many of these get? It may be in the, this many. But it's a good program, and it's something to offer, and it's to encourage folks to use electric rather than gas. The OMPA reapproved this program effective July 1st, 2022, and so we felt that we should bring this to you as another incentive for the public.
Have an estimate of cost?
Or
Said
or
maybe
funding.
5.
Yeah.
It actually depends on the actual hot water tank that they install. So it could be, your half shared cost would be $200, and our half would be $200. It just depends on the size of the hot water tank, and it also depends on the efficiency of it. I can tell you, we had this started in July of this year. We actually have had 0 rebates so far, because a lot of cities are still just now getting on board with the program. But we did want to offer it as another incentive program for your consumers if they build new homes or if they have an appliance go out. So it just depends again on the system. So it could be $250 that the city's out per customer. It could be, $400, the kind of ballpark of that. And so far this year, we've had 0 apply for it.
I was gonna say, there's no way to estimate our cost, because you don't know who's gonna participate in it.
Yeah.
You know,
It
you
all
don't know if it's gonna be
depends
1 or
on-
100, you have no idea.
And it usually depends. We tried to keep our rebates competitive with those of natural gas because the gas systems offer them as well to get them to put in gas rather than electric. And so we try to keep ours pretty competitive to where they would choose electric if their appliance goes out rather than gas.
And this is just paying for the tank, not the labor to
No.
replace it,
No,
correct?
just the tank, just a rebate on the tank itself.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-14.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 9, consider approval of the specifications and authorize the advertisement and solicitation of requests for qualifications of engineering services for certain engineering and design work at the Perry Municipal Airport.
Part of getting public funds from the federal government for our airport is compliance with the procurement regulations. And they like to see a procurement process for engineers performed at least once every 5 years. As you know, we had CEC out at the airport, and CEC became Park Hill. They assigned the company over to Park Hill. But they have reported that if we don't do a request for qualifications, that the availability of new federal dollars for projects at the airport may dry up. And this is something that we have done routinely. So what we're doing is we're asking that we be allowed to go out, solicit proposals for engineering services. We'll bring those back and tell you who was interested and make a recommendation, but allow you, of course, to see those. And, if you want to see presentations made or anything, we can do that. But this is part of us staying on top of our federal grant program.
Okay. Authority members, y'all know how important our grants are. Seems like we get grants all the time. We need to keep that up to date the best we can.
Motion to approve specifications, advertisement, solicit response to the RFQ.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 10, any new business that needs to come before the authority tonight? Hearing none, motion on the adjournment, item 11.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown, Williams,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you.
I can call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, November 21st, 2022 at 6:39. Roll call, please.
Wines, Marshall,
Here.
White,
Here.
Coffee,
Here.
Brown,
That,
Williams,
Here.
Vaughn,
Here.
Goldar,
Here.
Stroller.
Here. I do declare quorum. Item 1 is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the city agenda this evening. Hearing none. Item 5, proclamation, combination reports and inquiries by the governing body. Hearing none. Item 6, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Wind Construction was the winning bidder for the new water line improvements and replacements. As you've, if you've been by Ditch Witch, you've seen a whole bunch of pipe out there. So they're starting to bring in materials. They won't be working this week, but they'll be working next week. So that'll be a great project for us to get started. Chief Thomas notified by a granting agency that his department has been awarded a grant for $9,324 to purchase replacement vests. These won't be purchased until first of next year, but we're excited to have these. Some of them are in need to protect our officers. If you've been by Dollar General Market, they're doing well, I think. They've been open now since Friday. I have not been in there, but from the outside it looks good. So we're excited about new things happening for them as well. City Hall, we will be closing at noon this Wednesday for our department Thanksgiving potluck lunch. It's been tradition for a long, long time. Christie, I don't know how long it's been, but at least as long as I've been here. So it's a great time for us to get together just as a department. So we're excited about that. City Hall and then other non-emergency departments will be closing at various times on Wednesday, and then of course closed on Thursday and Friday. Perry Recycles due to the Thanksgiving holiday. We will not have that event. And it'll be the same in December. That second event in December comes around Thanksgiving, and I don't think many people are going to be here. So our recycling event on December 10th from 10 a.m. to noon. Council, any questions?
So we are having it in December?
No, we're not.
No, we're not, okay.
We on December 10th we are,
Okay.
but on December 24th we're not.
Okay.
I'd just like to say that with the Dollar General opening up and the Love's, command your departments, the water, electric, streets department, and inspection. I know they did a lot of work to get that done, and I applaud them for their efforts.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any other questions for Larry? All right. Item 7 is the Chief Financial Officer's report. Mr. Meacham and Meredith are both out of town, apparently. They're stalking us right now. I'm sure one of them is. Apparently Russ is. So happy holidays to y'all. But we'll move to item 8. Consider approval of pipeline lease agreement with BNSF Railroad Company for the location, one 10-inch water pipe and payment of $4,251 in compensation. If you remember right, on this water project we were going to bore under the railroad track, and we pulled that because of the we need to cut some money somewhere out of that project, so we did that. And now we're going to try to get some ARPA money to try to go ahead and get that done. And we want to go ahead and get this agreement in place. That way, if the ARPA money does come through, we already have the agreement.
It takes a while to negotiate an agreement with the railroad, and we will need to do this. So, and we're very hopeful about that, of receiving that ARPA grant. But Matthew Coe says we need to do it in any event. We need to do this. this agreement with the railroad in any event because it needs to be done.
I'm gonna make a motion, we approve the pipeline license agreement with BNSF Railroad Company for the location of the 10-inch water pipe and payment of $4,251 in compensation.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 9, approve the following invoices by Myers Engineering Consulting Engineering Incorporated. Second Maple Drainage Evaluation, $1,256.50. Water main replacement, $7,535.06. We can approve those together.
Motion to approve the invoices for Myers Engineering.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 10, consider and discuss the receiving a request of qualifications for engineering services for the engineering and design of certain water lines. We got one request back, and that was from Myers. And is it right, we already have a contract with them, Bryce?
Yeah, we already have a contract with them, but we had to go through this process, so we
We need to
sent
accept,
these.
we need to accept their,
Yeah, I think under this, we just let you know that we got one.
oh, okay.
But under this, since we got one, we need to have someone file the application for us and kind of take this forward. So really it would be to approve Myers, or to authorize Myers to file the application for us. In the next item, we're going to authorize the application. But he's going to assist us, and he does that. I spoke to him this morning. He does it at no charge. So it doesn't involve any money either.
So we need a motion for that?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
to recognize that he was the one
Okay.
and to approve him to file our application and to be our engineer on this ARPA project.
And we can't do that all in this next line?
Oh, you mean on 11? Yeah, I think you can there too. Yeah. In fact, it may be more appropriate to do it in 11.
Is that
So we
what
just
you?
moved to 11.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna do anyway, but
Okay.
you know how sometimes he gets control of things. So, I wasn't gonna argue with him.
You're the council.
All right, item 11, consider approval of resolution number 2022-18, the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, authorizing application for the American Rescue Plan Act grant from the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. Go ahead, Derek.
Motion to approve the resolution and authorize Myers as the ability to apply for this grant. Is that enough?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
I'm not seconded it.
You want to say- Any further discussion?
And to approve them, as our engineer on the project.
And that
So
too.
moved.
Okay.
I thought there was something else.
You can amend your motion to that, right?
So moved, yeah.
All right,
Amendment.
roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 12, consider and approve professional services contract with engineer for a potential ARPA fund water line project.
Having done that, we don't need to take any action on
That's
this
right.
item.
All right, item 13, consider approval of resolution number 2022-15 and the election proclamation of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, notifying the Secretary of Noble County Election Board that there will be a nonpartisan general municipal election for the election of certain elected officials on Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, providing for the dates of the filing period for such nonpartisan general municipal election of the offices to be filled at such nonpartisan general municipal election and the qualifications of the office.
Yeah, this is the resolution calling the election, and of course, the date will be April 4th, and the filing period is in February, February 6th through the 8th. We have to apologize for Gloria, and to Gloria, and I've got to give Councilman Cold Iron credit, because Gloria, I'm sorry, we had your seat up for election.
I told you I didn't.
But
I think I-
we don't need to do that, so.
Correct.
We have changed the resolution, and you can cross out Ward 1, Post 2. You can cross that one out, and Gloria is our councilman.
She was elected to a 4-year term.
Yes, and we'll continue. There was a little confusion at the election board, and a little confusion in City Hall. It got straightened out this afternoon. So if you want to approve
Just strike it off.
resolution striking out the Ward 1.
There is a new resolution.
Oh, there's a new resolution, that's correct.
Oh, yeah, I did see that over here a while ago, somewhere. Five council members, and then the mayor's position.
Motion to approve resolution number 2022-15 and the election proclamation.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Hang on a second. There is a problem, I believe, with the new resolution. The new resolution does not have Joe's.
It is.
Ward 2, Post 2.
Yeah, on the front page, on the first page.
Oh, I apologize, I didn't see it now, okay.
Yep.
All right, go ahead. Yes. Ready? Okay. Item 14, consider approval of resolution 2022-16, the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, concerning the project sponsorship for the Transportation Alternative Program application and maintenance commitment, declaring the eligibility of the City of Perry of Oklahoma to submit an application for Oklahoma Department of Transportation for the use of the Transportation Alternative Program Fund set forth by IIJA for the Locust Street Pedestrian Improvement Project in the Perry, and authorizes the mayor to sign this application, determine the amount of local match, and determine the source of the fund for the local match. Okay, this is the sidewalk project. We talked about the route to school that will go from, originally it was going to go from 7th Street to 15th Street. It'll be a sidewalk project, and will this incorporate the school zone lights too, Bryce? Or is it just the sidewalk project?
It's just the sidewalk project.
So we will have to come up later with a school zone.
Other funding,
Yeah,
other funding.
because I think that was the whole intent of that project, was to get school
Yeah.
zone back 4 or 5 blocks down 15th Street. So anyway, and Larry has come up with the idea that we will extend that from 7th Street, from 7th to Locust, a block north, then to the Christ Lutheran school up there also.
And if I may, Mayor, these next two sessions, items, in talking to Mr. Spears, Robert Spears is our landscape architect, he mentioned that ODOT would like for council to prioritize these two projects. He thinks that we'll have funding. He don't think there's a problem with that. But ODOT has asked that we prioritize this. So that will need to be something we take care of too, Bryce.
Yeah, I would say, and thank you, Larry, for pointing that out. And that really is, which one is more important to us? Is it the Locust Street one, or is it the,
Phase 3 on the first.
yeah, or the Phase 3? In that it's a Phase 3, I have to think that one will get funded. Because normally, they like to see projects continued and completed. At least that's what I've been told, but I don't know that should give you any,
Doesn't
any
the,
direction.
doesn't the Locust Street project come from a different fund source? Didn't the Fed, don't the feds put out
No,
I thought they put out a route to school funding.
Yeah.
no, it used to be, it absolutely used to be. There was a route to school funding, and then there was this TAPS funding. It's my understanding that with this, they've combined it all. But,
Was this, is so,
and this Locust Street, I suppose that this, it's tied into, I think in our thought process with the wood addition, right? Or is it not?
well,
It goes on the north, on the north side there.
Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean,
I
that's
don't
kind
think,
of,
in my mind, it would be an asset for that neighborhood, but in my mind, when I started trying to push this is all about the safety of the kids getting to the school, whether we have a project there or not.
I think that gave some, that talking about that neighborhood made us realize that there may be some issues with the safety there, but I don't,
It would be nice to
echo what you
finish
said. It's-
the first sidewalk and finish that Phase 3. However, when you look at, just like the mayor mentioned, the safety of our kids, what would the community like? And you guys represent the community, so,
Locust.
on Locust, yeah.
Yeah, if I was gonna prioritize one, I would definitely say, and just, it's just my opinion, that the safety of our children is way more important than. And I don't know, I'm assuming all of us drive that area from time to time. That place is a train wreck, period. And I think that at some point, we as a city need to have a discussion with the school system and see if we can't come to some kind of agreement on how to solve some of those issues. I get phone calls all the time, and the same person, one individual's contacting me, I know is contacting Larry. They're parking in alleys and streets and yards, and it's horrible up there. And then you got these kids, these people want to park across in the neighborhood, and then you got these kids off in these neighborhoods, and we got to figure out how somehow to keep those kids on the schoolyard, unless, we can't do pickups all over that neighborhood. It just, I don't think that's safe. So, that's a whole other fight, but the kids that are walking, we need to have some kind of designated area. If we can get Locust designated as the walking path, those kids can go east from the school down that way rather than down 6 different streets,
I agree.
Well, they'll be lined up all the way to the stop sign on 15th, and people that aren't picking up kids can't even get around because of the line that's all the way to the street.
Yeah.
So-
No, I think it's a train wreck. I'm just glad that I don't have to go that way very often.
So when you say prioritize this, does this mean that we vote to do one and not the other one?
oh, no,
Or do we?
No, I think you would approve this resolution 2022-16. You would designate, I just got from Russ, the local match comes from the fund balance. And you would designate this as the priority project. Just,
We'll still apply for both of them.
but that's up to you, whether you want to or
right.
not. But Russ, who's very slow to say spend money, has actually authorized to do the local match on these two. So
He's also recommending certain funding percentages.
that's correct.
Yeah, on item 14, it's 12.5%.
Does that not,
That should be part of the motion.
does it not also kind of say what our priority is though? I mean, that was my thought when this came up. I mean,
Well, in item 15, he's recommending the 20%.
I know, that's my point. I mean, I don't know what tells them we can say what we want, but we're also saying different percentages.
Well, I think he knows what percentage, he's got more detail on what percentage we need to put into that individual project to get awarded. I think he's got the insight on that.
Yeah, those were Robert Shear's recommendations.
Okay.
So, I mean, he probably knows what's going in. In fact, I heard at another councilman meeting, you know, they even talked about the number of projects that were gonna go into each district. And because of that, they were recommending that some cities raise their local match to the very highest match. But apparently Shears thinks that with the match as designated on this agenda, that we'll have a real shot at getting this. But increasing your local match only increases your points.
Right.
And makes the chances higher that you'll get the project. So you've got to take that into consideration.
And if we get both of these, they'll both be within the next 12 months, right?
Yes?
So we'll begin, no matter what the priority is, they'll both be beginning within the next 12 months, or roughly.
Yes.
So what was your comment about the school safety, the lights? And
Well, I think that when I come up with the idea, we ought to do something that I wasn't too concerned about. I mean, I wanted the sidewalk project to go as far as we could, but it was more important for us to get a school zone, because we were all in the same meeting, that people said people were speeding down Locust Street. And my original intent was to have a school zone from 15th back to like 10th Street or somewhere back to the last 3 or 4 or 5 blocks before we get to the school. That would be determined by the administration on where they thought that would, and maybe the police department on determining where that safe spot is. But we have school zones on 15th Street coming from north and south, and that is one more street. That's the major street that comes dead end into the school, and there's no school zone there. I mean, we can't do it on all of our streets, but our streets are, I don't even, well, what is the speed limit on the streets like Locust and, not Locust, be Call and
30.
Jackson and,
30 is
30.
not
30 unless
otherwise.
otherwise posted.
yeah, okay.
And
So,
then school zone drops it to 25, except for 15th drops to 20.
yeah. So we could, we need to get if we can get them, because most of the people that are on those other side streets are stop signs and
Yeah.
things that get people slowed down. But on Locust Street, that's not true.
Stop signs, yeah.
Yeah. So, I just thought if we could get a school zone there also on Locust Street to help slow the traffic down.
Not to mention, that's where they go because they know they're not gonna have to slow down.
Exactly, you're exactly right.
Well, that takes an act by this body to designate it, and then it takes, you know, our electric folks to purchase and hang the signs, you know, and the lights. I don't know exactly, you know, what kind of work that involves or how many dollars that is. I'm sure, like everything, it's not cheap, but I think that, you know, if you're interested in that, we ought to be able to bring those numbers back to you at your next meeting.
I would like to see that.
Of what that
Well,
would be.
I want to add a little bit, now, because I think you said something earlier that's very beneficial as well. But I think before we make any action, that we do have a conversation with the school and have a joint plan, because there's more than one thing that needs to, it's not just that one thing that needs to happen, I don't think. I think there's multiple
Well,
things that need to happen.
I agree with you 100%.
And I think before we spend dollars, we should probably,
But that's an action that we can take. That's our street, so we don't have to have school input to do that on our street.
understood, but if we spend $30,000 and then come back and we come up with a whole nother plan, reconfigure it, I just kind of want to lay out a plan with the school system together, is what I was thinking.
Well, that's up to the council. I mean, I don't know how, I'm not saying I don't agree, but I somewhat disagree because that street, regardless of the plan we have with the school, that is still gonna be a speed problem on Locust Street, I think.
But these two resolutions has nothing to do with the zoning thing that you're
Correct.
talking about, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is something that we need to consider at a later
Yeah,
date
we
on
can-
the agenda.
Yeah, and we
And it
can,
wouldn't hurt just to have the numbers.
yeah, we will bring those back to you.
Yeah, and I agree with you too, Derek. Like when they were putting in the new school that we just got, we had brought up the traffic and they had said, well, we'll deal with that. And they never dealt with it. And so we just have the same thing that we had.
Have they ever reached out, Larry, to the city to sit down, let's have a traffic discussion?
No, I'm not.
That's kind of where I was headed. I
Yeah.
think we need to have that discussion as well.
All right, item 14. Russ suggests that the local match be the 12.5%, or Spears, I'm sorry.
Spears did, and Russ agreed.
Agreed, okay.
And it come from the carried forward reserve.
I make a
The-
motion we
Excuse me,
approve.
the fund balance is what he said,
Yeah, okay.
the fund balance.
Jeanette?
Larry, you said that when you talked to Spears, they said they thought that we would probably get funding for both, but they just wanted us to prioritize. Why did they want us to prioritize if they think we're gonna get funding? Which one they do first, or?
I think sometimes when you get closer to actually doing something, sometimes they find that the money, not all the money is there in the pot. So they want to know, if we don't have all that money, what do you want to do first?
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-16 for the project sponsorship for the Transportation Alternatives Program application with the 12.5% local match.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Do we need to prioritize that one in the
Yes.
motion?
With this is the
Yes.
priority of the two projects.
Yes.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Huh?
We'll prioritize this one as our.
This is the priority.
Yeah.
It's the number one priority.
Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 15, consider approval of resolution 2022-17, the city council of the city of Perry, Oklahoma, concerning the project sponsorship for the transportation alternative program application and maintenance commitment, declaring the eligibility of the city of Perry, Oklahoma to submit an application to the Oklahoma Department of Transportation for the use of the transportation alternatives program funds set forth by IIJA for the sidewalk and pedestrian improvement project phase 3 in Perry, and authorize the mayor to sign this application, determine the amount of local match, and determine the source of the funding of the local match. All right, this is phase 3 out past Brahms, goes to the ball fields. I think we're all familiar with that project. And Mr. Shears and Russ has agreed to 20% match on this project.
And what's the funding source?
The same from the fund carryover balance.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-17 with a local match at 20% and the funding from the
Fund balance.
fund balance.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 16, new business. Is there any new business that needs to come before the council this evening? Hearing none. Item 17, we are going to skip over item 1 when I read this because there's still no information from Jimbo. So, consider convening an executive session to confer on number 2, to confer on a matter pertaining to economic development of the city of Perry, to discuss and proposal to remodel and extend the lease of the hospital and thereby approve the economic development of the city of Perry. A public disclosure of the proposal will interfere with the development and implementation of this proposal. And in addition, discuss related economic development issues relating to the potential of adding or losing of additional tenant for such facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Coldire,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you.